everyone, please skip to this timestamp below if you just want to hear the advice and you just want to hear about my experience, because this next section is simply just going to be me showing everyone that I have passed my driving test and the excitement of me passing on my test day. So if you just want to hear the advice, please just click here, because I really want to just chat to you guys. Are you gonna be in my video? Because you've been here through the whole journey, Jakey. Please ignore the messy bed in the background. My cat fell asleep, couldn't make the bed this morning. I am beyond excited to tell you guys that I have finally, after like 3 years, passed my driving test. I am, oh my gosh, when I found out, happy tears. My mum had happy tears. I'm just over the moon and I can't wait to sit down and tell you guys properly. But I really wanted to document this day because I'm gonna go and pick up my boyfriend as a surprise. He is like really bad at reactions, if that makes sense. And when he opens presents and stuff, he does get really excited, bless him, but it's not like a mind-blowing, like that's so cute kind of reaction. So I don't know what footage I'm gonna get. I rang my dad as well. He didn't even know that I had my test booked, so I tried to tell him on the call and it was the funniest thing ever, trying to get him to understand that I passed, because the signal kept cutting out. It kept saying reconnecting, as you guys can just see, so you can keep seeing me mouth, I passed my driving test. I told my brother, so I saw his reaction face to face, and he was like sat up in bed, just woken up, so I don't really want to put that on here. I didn't want to just put my camera in his face. About to take my first drive by myself. I cannot wait, and I cannot wait to sit down and talk to you guys properly. So let's just go pick my boyfriend up. Okay, no one else is here. I'm driving. Okay, I'm driving. So I'll speak to you guys when I am back, because I don't have like a little clippy thing. I could do drive with me's. Oh my god. Anyway, catch you guys when I see my boyfriend. I'm doing it. Just thought I'd record some audio. I am happy singing right now. Singing, I'm driving in my car. I'm very excited. Oh my god, these people think I'm normal. I'm a normal driver. Isn't that so like awkward? I don't have the security anymore of being like, I'm a little learner. Oh my god, okay. Bye guys. Okay, I was fully planning on being at the end of his drive and just being sat in my car and for him to see me and documenting the whole thing, but he wasn't there waiting out the front like he usually is, so I had to go through his whole house without saying anything. It was so difficult, and when I got to see him, he was just being normal, because obviously he didn't even know I had my driving test booked. He didn't even know I redid my theory. He didn't know anything, so I was there just trying to act all casual, speaking to his mom, and oh, I wanted to burst so badly.
So imagine, I thought you texted me when you were here. Did you?
Nah. Well, I just assumed I said 10-15 minutes. Here I am trying to like reach for the door and get out of here, and Jacob's like, oh, by the way, he's just like talking to me about something random, so I had to just stop the video and restart it when we were going on our way out. I didn't even know how to film this because Jacob's mum was coming as well. I expect to say hi to my mum, who wasn't there because it was just me. Oh, this is so painful, and I didn't want to just like start recording them before they clocked it because it'd be so obvious.
Goodbye. Oh, you're coming. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm not thinking
Try.
What?
You're not gonna crash while my mum's not in the car with me.
Did you do your driving test today?
Yeah.
She did her driving test today and passed.
Oh my god.
Oh, thank you. Oh my god, I'm so relieved.
I saw the car. I couldn't see Tracy. I saw the glare, and then I saw the phone, and I was thinking, do you know what's funny? Is
I wanted to tell Ben, but I was like, I had to get you first.
I had a weird feeling because you said to me that she did the driving lesson yesterday and today.
I said it was like double booked because he had like a holiday. He was on holiday for 2 weeks.
That's exciting.
I was saying, is that a new car? Haven't you got a different car? She was like, yeah, a couple of years ago.
She's just playing it cool.
No, I really wanted to say, like, I wanted to tell you, but I was like, I have to get Jacob first.
I had a weird feeling.
I was going to be sat in the car and wait for you to come.
Well, yeah, it's just, yeah, we got right.
I'm opening my driving passing lesson test presents 3 years later. She had these presents on the fridge and they got so dusty she had to move them elsewhere. None of us can remember what they are. I don't even know if they're relevant anymore, but I'm very excited nonetheless. First of all, the card.
It's been so long, even my writing's changed.
Yeah, you've passed! Congratulations, beep beep.
What did I put?
Okay, to Jaylan, well done. I knew you would do it. Then this is your writing. I hope you have many years of happy and safe driving. You're such a star. Keep the road rage in check. Which is still relevant to this day. Got one. We got two. We got three. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one because I think I know what this is.
Yeah, I think I know what it is, and you're not going to use it.
No.
Okay.
What is it?
I'll use it. Actually,
What is it?
it's peas. The weight of it is like a pea plate on the front and the back. Just to jump in, I would have used these when I was 17 when my mum originally bought them. I didn't want to use them now because I was 20. I've been driving for 3 years. If you guys have watched my driving video, you will know that I can drive. It was just the part where I actually had to pass a test. So I didn't want to use it to just warn people off because I knew that I would be okay on the roads. My peas!
Carol, I've got her pea plates.
What is the joke?
Well, I got her 3 years ago, so I think I must have thought, oh, she'll only be 17 and she's only a young girl and she'll be out on the road, she should have pea plates on.
Going for the small one next.
Put the aux plugs in there.
And then that can plug in my phone. Oh, Jacob was in the car with me. He said, like, is there any way I could connect to music or anything? And I was like, I don't know, we'll open mum's presents and hopefully she's coming in.
I'm gonna guess it.
Oh my god! A cell phone car mount. Ah, thank you.
I look at that.
That's one of the gifts.
Can I unbox it? Thank you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I waited 3 years.
Jacob, could you pass me that, please? It's just trying to...
Jacob just got unboxing it. Guys, I literally said on the way to picking Jacob up that I could do drive with me now. Drive with me now. Drive with me now. Drive with me videos now. He's just taking it and now he's putting it together. It's like Christmas Day.
So it's weight based. Its arms are open. When you drop it in, it uses its own weight to hold it.
Oh, and I could do little drive with me. Wait, can you rotate it?
Put some wires in and see if there's an aux cable.
As I told you guys earlier, I surprised one of my brothers who was in bed, but I realised I already ruined it because for some reason I texted him saying I passed before actually surprising him. So this is my other brother I went to surprise and this is what happened. Oh, he stopped. He's going back. Guys, he just rang me and was like, you've passed your test. And I was like, what? I'm here to surprise you. And he's like, you put it on B-reel, you idiot. But he was really, really happy and saying that it was sick. So I was going to try and get his reaction because he just started smiling and putting his thumbs up. Look at his face. As you guys have just seen, I have passed my driving test and I really wanted to document the day. But I really want to sit down with you guys and just talk to you about the process of me finally booking my driving test, me taking it, my new instructor, and all of that stuff that you guys saw in the first video I did about my driving experience. If you guys have not seen the video about my driving experience, I really recommend seeing it if you want to see the bad luck that I was going through, the stress, the upset. And I also think it'd be really helpful for those of you who still haven't passed yet to read some of the comments, because I am so thankful for the reaction I got in that video, not just because it made me feel so much more less alone, but also because of the people that were successful in passing their tests. Some of the amazing comments that I got, like big paragraphs just telling me that one day I'm going to do it, one day it will be okay. It honestly really, really got me through, and no comment back could like express how much it meant to me to see all of these comments. So honestly, if you guys are worried, upset, just know you're not alone. And if you want to watch that video, I really recommend it. Seeing the comments as well, I don't know, it was really beneficial for me, so I hope it helps you guys in some way. I feel like I need to put my phone somewhere else, but honestly there's like nowhere for me to put it. I'm just gonna have to hold it and make this work. Basically, to pick up where I left off, I couldn't book my driving test because my theory had run out. And if anyone else was driving during COVID, you would know the frustration of having to retake your theory because the 2 years were up because we were in COVID for 2 years. So I did actually retake my theory, and if you guys saw like my mini catch-up video, I did briefly speak about my driving. I took my theory, I failed it because of hazard perception. It was really, really frustrating because I was clicking it too early, which meant I got 0 out of 5. If you know, you know. I then ended up retaking it, and at the time that I decided to retake it, I didn't tell anyone I was doing my theory. I kept it completely private. Even my boyfriend didn't know, my brothers didn't know. It was just me and my mum going through it. So I retook it in a place that I'd never had it before. Every year I'd taken my theory I had done it in the same place. So this year I took it in a completely different place. I felt like a fresh start, and I passed. And when I passed, I decided that because I hadn't told anyone that I'd taken my theory, I was then going to do the same thing with my actual driving test. I feel like when you start to tell tell people stuff, even though they don't pressurize you in any way. Like my brothers would never, my boyfriend would never. It still feels like you're letting someone else down beyond yourself, and the most important thing to think about is yourself. You don't want to have to tell people, oh, I failed again and whatever. You don't want that external pressure. I did my theory privately and I passed it privately, and I was thinking for my test I didn't want to tell anyone once again. I ended up having lessons with my brother's driving instructor, so that was my 4th instructor that I'd had. As you guys know, I have not had a good history with my instructors, so if you guys want to watch that in detail, then again watch the other video. But I really struggle with driving instructors. The lessons themselves make me really nervous, and I feel like that's a really unusual thing to experience because the lessons are supposed to be the most relaxing part and it's the test you're nervous for. I'm not an anxious driver, I just don't like the concept of someone sat in the car with me like analysing every move that I make. And with all my other instructors, one of them didn't actually comment on anything to do with my driving. I think I mentioned that she was just so like blasé in the sense that like she didn't actually help me at all. But my other 2, they were kind of like very picky about everything that I was doing. It was good obviously because I needed to know what I was doing wrong. I just get like overwhelmed criticism and I kind of just believe that I'm not good if someone tells me bad things. So I needed a different type of instructor that was going to guide me in a way that was like much more positive orientated. And it sounds really stupid, like as an adult I need like certain teaching aspects. I knew the type of person I needed. Originally I wasn't even going to have a driving instructor. I was just going to teach myself, well, not teach myself, I already knew how to drive. I literally knew everything there was to know about driving. It was just the mindset that I had on the test day that I needed to shift. So I really didn't want to have an instructor. And when my brother had experience with his instructor and then ended up passing first time in Worcester, I was a bit like, maybe I do need an instructor. My mum was saying that she wanted to do everything she could to make sure this time was successful. And because my brother had been successful with his instructor and his journey, my mum suggested that I should do the same thing. The thing is with me is that I really didn't like Worcester. I had a really bad experience with my instructors, with mock tests, with tests in Worcester. I really didn't want to do that. I was really back and forth and I decided I wanted to stay with Cheltenham because my most recent instructor, my 3rd one, had taken me around Cheltenham. I felt like I wanted to be in more of like a town, narrow roads type area than like chaos city, busy roundabouts. Breaking it down now, it's not what it's like, but just because my experience was so intense being in Worcester, it felt like I was going back to an area I wasn't comfortable in. My mum understood that, but she also wanted me to have experience with this instructor, so I did, and it was honestly the best decision that like she ever made on my behalf. I really liked this instructor, and basically the reason why I felt so comfortable, I still got so anxious for the lessons, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It felt so much more comfortable because he was so chatty and so bubbly, and he just spoke about anything and everything that I immediately felt relaxed, and I felt like I was literally just driving a friend or something from the pub and taking him somewhere else. I felt like a taxi driver rather than the whole dynamic of being a teacher and a student, and that really helped my anxieties because I felt like I was just driving. He instilled repeatedly the significance of road signs, and I know this sounds really stupid, but when you're on the road, I feel like for me personally, I look around a lot and I look around everything that's going on, but in the sense that it overwhelms me. So for example, being in a city, I look around, I see people and I see traffic lights, I see cars, I'd see traffic itself, I'd see so many different things, but in your head you start to panic. If you literally just focus on the road signs, obviously the car in front of you in case they break or anything, but if you completely like take away from where you are and you just look at the road signs, it honestly tells you so much more than you'd expect. Worcester is a really good area for road signs, so I don't know what it's going to be like in any places you guys want to test, but for me it was really helpful to just focus on the speed limit, if there was a junction coming up, if there were crossroads, if there was a roundabout approaching. And because I was so focused on all these signs around me, even things that say, you know, like there's a farm or like cows and stuff nearby, I was looking at those constantly that I kind of forgot where I was, and it took away the huge amount of anxiety I had about being in a city and testing in a city. I didn't even know where I went. Sometimes my mum would say, do you want to go over this place? And it's like I honestly couldn't tell you whereabouts in Worcester it was because I just completely cut off from the fact that I was in a city. I don't know if that really makes sense or if the advice is any good, but it did personally help me with my instructor. His aura was very like cool, calm, collected. Obviously he would say if something was wrong, he would be like, oh yeah, next time make sure that you just go back there a bit anyway, and he'd continue to talk about whatever. So his criticism was almost not dismissive, but he said it in the same sentence that he'd speak about other things, so it didn't feel like he was drawing attention to it. He was just saying by the way and then going back to his topic of conversation. So that really relaxed me massively. And I think the biggest difference obviously was having him as the instructor, having the idea of the road signs, but the absolute thing that I think was big for me was driving in my own car. So with this instructor, I could be in my own car. He would sit in with me, and apparently a lot of people are turning more towards being in their own cars now. It does also make the lessons cheaper, so if you guys are struggling in terms of money for booking these lessons, booking all these tests, then I definitely recommend being in your own car because it is more affordable for the lessons. He would sit in this car with me, and it felt like it was something familiar, something that I knew. I've had this car for like 4 years now. Driving it is almost like, what's the expression? I can't remember, but like I get in the car and I instantly know where I am. It's familiarity. I know where the biting point is. I know how much gas it needs. I know when to change the gears in it. I know this car so well because I was literally driving it all the time. So when I stopped having my lessons with my various instructors, in between the gaps of the lessons, I'd be in this car. The issue for me is that every time I had a new instructor, I had a new car. So I've learned in 6 different cars so far in my lifetime. I've driven 6 different cars, which is really good for experience, but it felt like I was getting into someone else's car and having a teacher and student lesson. Being in my own car, I think that also helped, combined with the instructor's personality, but also helped the idea that I was independent, I was a confident driver, and it was as though I had passed because I was in something so familiar to me. I think that was really, really important to helping me feel more relaxed. I could practice all the time in loads of different locations, and that was massive because it meant that on the test day, it didn't matter where they were going to take me, where I was going to go. I knew how to deal with it because of 1, looking at all the road signs, they tell you literally everything you need to know, and 2, I was so used to this car, I knew how to handle different situations based on this car. I knew which gaps I could fit in, I knew which gaps I couldn't fit in, which risks to take, which risks I shouldn't take. So if you guys have your own car, I definitely recommend doing that. If you don't have your own car, I know I'm pushing so much about having your own car, you don't need to get your own car to do this. My brother had the same instructor, the same mindset about the road signs, and he practiced once a week. I think closer to his test day, he practiced twice a week, and he was in his instructor's car. But for me personally, I think that's what really helped me, and the idea of just looking at the road signs, which made a difference. It sounds so stupid. Like when he first told me, I was a bit like, right, okay, like that's the advice. And then when I started doing it, I suddenly realized that I was focusing so much on the road signs, I forgot about where I was. Another thing is, I don't know if it's really silly or not, I tried to have routine. So every time I had my lesson, I tried to make sure it was very similar. I always took some anxiety remedy stuff. I can't remember what it's called. I will put text on the bottom of the screen, and I would take 4 drops of the anxiety remedy before my lesson. I would also have gum every lesson. When I was chewing gum, I don't know, I think it's like the motion of your brain like having something else to focus about in a way really made a difference to me. I felt so much more relaxed chewing something. It's also like a scientific thing. I think I saw something like this about when you're revising, that if you chew gum when you're revising and then you have gum in the exam, your brain remembers that you were chewing gum when you were last revising, and it helps you remember the information. Something way more scientific than that, but to break it down, I do think me feeling more relaxed in my lessons and chewing gum and stuff maybe tricked my brain into thinking that I was just having another lesson. And I did this literally every single lesson, and on my test day I did the exact same thing. I took the 4 drops of remedy, and then as soon as I got in the car and the examiner was like, okay, if you want to get yourself ready, I literally quickly put some gum in my mouth, and I was like just trying to like make sure I could speak to them, because I'd also lied to people about my test and saying that it was just another lesson on a random Monday. That also helped trick my brain as well into thinking that it was just another lesson. Another thing, which is again could be considered quite silly, but I feel like for 45 minutes you can do stupid things that is going to trick your brain into feeling better, but wearing clothes I felt confident in also helped. When I used to have my lessons, I always used to wear just like hoodies and leggings and whatever made me feel most comfortable. This time for my set of lessons, I put jeans on and a crop top I really like. Sometimes I put some concealer underneath my eyes if they felt like a bit grey, just to brighten my face a bit. And I just did little things that made me feel more confident. When I'm driving, this is so dumb, but like when I drive and I wear like my black baggy jeans, as I was doing it just with my mum, I was like, I feel so cool right now. So I also started to wear those jeans that I felt cool in and confident in with my instructor, and I did feel more confident because of it. A lot of it is about feeling good. If you guys have ever gone to like a party, you would know that if you're not wearing something you feel confident in, you're less likely to have a good night at the party because you're going to feel insecure. And I feel like with driving, the only thing you want to think about is the fact you're driving. So if you can help yourself by doing all these other factors, like having a remedy, like wearing confident clothes, like chewing gum, whatever it is that can help yourself feel more relaxed and trick your brain into feeling comfortable and safe, then I definitely recommend doing so. I even held on to the fact that my test was on the 22nd of August at 11:11 and they're angel numbers, and I don't believe in that sort of stuff, but I know that they're angel numbers, and I was like, these are angel numbers, mum. This must be a good sign. I just held on to literally everything that I could. The time that I was doing all of this in also helped me. The fact that I was doing it during summer made a big difference, because I started doing my lessons during summer, booked my test during summer, and I knew that if I'd failed or anything, then I could simply just rebook my test, because I got this app called Testy. You can book your test for literally like any month, any year, whatever, as far away as you can, and you can just bring it forward up to 10 times, I think it is, or push it back if you don't feel ready yet. I booked my test for like October or something in Warwick, and then I brought it forward for Worcester. Another thing that's important is taking away the amount of times you do it and knowing just eventually that you will. I think having the whole of summer was really good for that, because my mind was purely focused on getting this done, and whether it was on the Monday 22nd or it was a different day, I just needed to do it. And it did feel really mentally draining, the idea of that if I failed I'd have to do it all over again, because it's not nice having to do this over and over and over again and rebuild the anxieties, obviously. But I did know that I had the opportunity to do so, because, you know, I wasn't going to be at uni or anything. If you know that your brain can't take being at uni, coming home and doing lessons or whatever, or school, whatever it is that you're going through, then just don't do it if you don't feel 100%. But if there's that fighting part of you that thinks, I just want to get this over and done with, then do it. You're allowed to make mistakes. If you're on the test day and you panic and you think you've done something wrong, please don't let you think in your head that that is a major, that is a minor, whatever. Do not let yourself think about that. You're allowed to make mistakes as long as they are done safely. So when I was on the roundabout, I accidentally went in the wrong lane, and because you're obviously not allowed to change lanes whilst you're in the roundabout, I let myself just take the next exit that the lane was due for me to take. And when I went off, the sat nav that was set up just recalculated my route. I had to go onto another roundabout, turn myself back around, and then just go back onto that 6 exit roundabout. And it was as simple as that. I was a bit panicked because I was thinking, oh my god, because I'm like in the wrong lane and stuff and I've gone in the wrong direction, is that going to be a major? Because I thought I was following the signs to the correct place, and it turns out that I was looking in the wrong direction. So I thought that I was in the original lane before I entered the roundabout, and I accidentally, as I went onto the 6 exit roundabout, I went into the wrong lane. And obviously in my head I was like, that's a major. I didn't do any of that. I was just in the wrong lane before I entered the roundabout to begin with. It's not like I was in the right lane and then I moved off into the wrong lane when I got on the roundabout. I didn't let myself get worried about it. I thought, okay, we'll just turn around. We're allowed to go in the wrong direction, and it was fine. Another thing is don't let the examiner intimidate you. A lot of people have chatty examiners, nice examiners, and I did not. I had a very like stone cold person. Every time I tried like speak to her and be chatty and make conversation to relax my own nerves, she just didn't give me anything back. She'd say like yes sometimes or no, and just please don't let that throw you off, because sometimes they just like to remain really cold, really professional, just to let you get on with the test, and they don't want to make conversation with you. That made me really, really nervous when I first thought about it, being in that situation. First of all, it helped me completely focus on everything that I needed to do, because I wasn't chatting to someone. And second of all, even though she was really cold and just didn't speak, was very, very like professional, I still passed anyway. So don't let their character throw you off, because I think that when you get in the car and you see someone who's cold, immediately you're like, I'm gonna fail, she's not being very nice, he's not being very nice, they won't like me. And that's something that I did previously, and don't let that bother you, okay? Do not let that happen. Just think, you know, this is the vibe they are, okay? Whether they're really open, chatty, whether they're really cold and quiet, either way, it is about you. It's not about the examiner, it is about you. Don't be afraid to ask questions. When I was on my test, she was really strange about telling me to parallel park. So rather than saying we're going to do a parallel park maneuver, she simply just said, could you pull up to the right next to that car and reverse back? And I was like parallel park? And she said, I want you to pull up to the right of the car and reverse back. And in my head I was thinking, so parallel park, because I've never learned a maneuver where you just pull up next to a car and reverse back, because that is like very, very strange. I pulled up next to this car and I reversed back, and she was pulling like a really like mean face. She was like, and I stopped and I was like, sorry, I don't understand what you want me to do. And she went, pull up to the right of the car and reverse back behind it. And I was like, okay, so like a parallel park. Sorry, I didn't understand. I pulled up to the right of it and came back behind the car like a parallel park, which it is a parallel park. I did a parallel park maneuver, but because she just said pull up to the right and reverse back, I was so confused. So I asked it like 5 or 6 times. And if I hadn't have asked her that, I don't know, it probably would have just been a minor, maybe a major. I don't really know what it is if you fail a maneuver. But either way, I asked her practiced so many times and I didn't get a minor for that whole maneuver. Don't let it stress you out by guessing what they mean. Just ask. I honestly had never been more confused. I hope all of this was helpful in some way or another. I'm not sure if I've answered everything. Any concerns, any worries? If you guys want to put more questions in the comment section below, then please let me know. And I really hope this was somewhat helpful. And I'm really, really happy to give you guys an update. And I really hope all those people that have commented on my video, you have now passed, you have a test booked, literally anything, because this is such an annoying process, but the relief is amazing. And I really want you guys to feel the relief. Please let me know if you have passed, if you're struggling, what you're struggling about, and I really hope that I can help you. And I will see you all in my next video.